stars up the horizon. What actually happens in between that time is just before the sun rises on Christmas morning or is born again, the sun falls between the constellation of Virgo, the celestial Virgin. The sun falls between Virgo's legs and is considered to be born again on Christmas morning. So this is where we have the entire event. The animals in the stable, those are the different constellations, and there's actually a constellation called the stable. And so you have all the animals in the heavens, you have all of the characters there, right there in the heavens, and this is something that we can go outside every single year and watch. So this isn't something that, we're supposed to wait 2,000 years for the return of Jesus, the God-man. This is something that literally happens every single year on December 25th, and we can all walk outside and be a part of it. And what happened was, at some point, the church actually separated December 25th with New Year's to make it appear that the two were not associated. But in fact, Christmas Day is actually the New Year's celebration. That's the real New Year's Day, the birth of the new sun.
Mm-hmm. All right, we've got the universe quite well covered now. But one more question. I'm not certain about this, but is it at this same period of time that the Big Dipper goes around the polar star, and that's the only time of the year that it does so?
Yeah, the Big Dipper was the chariot of Odin's chariot pulled by the goats, and it can also be said to be the sleigh pulled by Santa Claus's reindeer around the North Pole. And the Santa Claus and the reindeer come from the Siberian and Norse traditions of the winter solstice.
So, all right, if we move now to the symbology of the Christmas. Okay, now we've got the influences from the Christianity, from Coca-Cola, from a lot of things. But what was this entire symbology? We know there's a lot of Amanita muscarius involved in fairy tales, which are told at this period of time on postcards. We've got this Christmas tree. Maybe we can start off with the Christmas tree, what it means.
Well, the Christmas tree, what it actually means is it's a symbol of the world tree, or the axis mundi, which is basically the pole axis, or the north and south pole. It's a symbol of the world itself, and the tree, the evergreen, is a symbol of life that sustains itself through the darkest, coldest parts of winter. When most other things die, the evergreen stays green. That's why it's called an evergreen. That's the pine and the cedar trees, the fir trees, etc., the birch. These are all evergreen trees, and these trees were considered sacred and holy in ancient times, one, because they stayed green, and two, because of their tall, straight nature and the ancients' belief in fertility worship. They were considered a phallic fertility symbol. And the tree is, as far as how we celebrate it in Christmas, what the ancient traditions of the Siberian and Norse shaman would do would be to go out into the woods in the autumn before the Christmas celebration and collect the mushrooms, and then they would hang the mushrooms on the trees in order to dry them out for the winter celebrations. And the mushrooms are very large and heavy. Amanita muscaria can grow up to 12 or 16 inches in diameter, almost a half a meter in diameter. They're very large, heavy mushrooms. And so they would find a tree in the sun and hang the mushrooms on the tree. And then, I believe in the 4th century, we have it in our book, the exact date, but the church tried to ban the celebration of the tree in the Eucharist, but eventually they changed their mind and they accepted it. But what they did was they replaced the pagan Eucharist with the church's wafers. So it was still the same symbolism. What was hung on the tree was the symbolism of the Eucharist, the Eucharistic wafer of Christianity. So that, like I said, the symbolism is the same. But the reason why mushrooms are considered sacred and holy with the trees is because these types of mushrooms only grow in a symbiotic relationship with those types of trees, with the pine, the cedar, the fir, the birch, the oak trees. They only grow in a symbiotic relationship with the roots of those trees. So the mushrooms are literally the fruit of the tree. And this is the brightly colored packages that appear magically overnight underneath the Christmas tree. Now, you mentioned Coca-Cola and that sort of thing. The guy that came up with the Coca-Cola story was a German author and would have brought those traditions with him from Germany. But there's a very good book on that subject by Dr. Patrick Harding at the University of Sheffield, and his book is called Christmas Unwrapped. And he goes into a lot of the detail on the origins of the mushrooms and their symbolism with the holidays and the change of the calendars and things like that. So if anybody wants a lot more detail, I highly recommend your listeners get that book.
All right, thanks. All right, so we could say that the Amanita muscaria was the forbidden fruit.
I certainly argue that, and I'm not the first to do so. Throughout Europe, we've found numerous depictions of Adam and Eve standing on either side of different types of mushrooms. There was one found in the Abbey of Montecito in Italy that's displayed at the British Library. There's another found at the Plaincourt Church in France. We've got the Canterbury Psalter in England and Ethiopian Coptic texts that show mushrooms. The Bwiti tribe in Africa actually holds another psychedelic plant called Iboga, sacred as their holy and sacred tree. So there's a lot of reference to sacred plants and mushrooms and ties to sacred plants that makes a strong suggestion that indeed the pine tree along with the mushroom is the fruit of the tree.
Yeah, I remember I don't remember, but I read once an Indian chief saying to a white man coming to him and prohibiting him the eating of peyote, saying that you've got your Bible, you can read, we can't read, and we've got our peyote, and Jesus talks to us.
Yeah, well, they don't say, something like you go to your church and talk about God, we go to our teepee and talk to God.
Exactly.
I don't think they spoke of Jesus specifically, but being that it's the white man's conquering religion, that's the summary of that area of the Christmas tree. You have the symbolism of the Yggdrasil tree, which is the north, which is the poles expanding into the heavens, which ties it into astrotheology and the worship of the heavens. So this is the whole symbolism, the as above, so below symbolism that I was trying to explain earlier.